How the NFL broke Earl Campbell will always be talked about, whether you're an NFL fan or not. It's honestly disturbing to think that a player that great could barely move his hand by the age of just 46. The game destroyed his body so badly that now he can hardly move at all. So let's dig into what really happened behind the scenes that led him to such a heartbreaking state. By the time 2001 rolled around, Earl Campbell was just 46 years old, but his body told a very different story. The once unstoppable powerhouse of the NFL was now struggling with the simplest movements. Arthritis had stiffened his hands so badly that he could barely close his own fist. But that was just the beginning. Years of brutal hits, punishing runs, and playing through the pain had left their mark. Nerve damage in his legs led to a condition called foot drop, making it hard for him to lift his feet properly when walking. On top of that, bending his knees or his back had become extremely difficult. He was diagnosed with spinal stenosis in 2009, a narrowing of the spine that puts pressure on the nerves and causes intense pain. It's the kind of condition that makes everyday tasks feel like battles. Because of all this, Campbell can no longer get around like he used to. These days, he often leans on a cane or uses a walker just to move from one place to another. And if it's a longer distance, he needs a wheelchair. It's heartbreaking to see a man who once ran over defenders with ease now needing help just to stand or walk. At first, Campbell didn't want to blame football. He chalked it up to genetics, maybe just bad luck with his body. But as time passed and the damage became impossible to ignore, he admitted something he had likely been thinking about for a long time. In 2012, he finally said, "I think some of it came from playing football, playing the way I did. And honestly, how could it not? The way Campbell ran, with full force, never stepping out of bounds, always looking for contact, it was thrilling to watch, but the price he paid was devastating." The physical pain wasn't the only thing he had to battle. In 2009, as his spinal stenosis worsened, doctors prescribed painkillers to help him cope. But soon those pills, especially OxyContin, took over his life. He started relying on them more and more, until he was taking as many as 10 pills a day. And it didn't stop there. He was also washing them down with Budweiser. The man who once conquered football was now caught in a dangerous addiction, numbing both the physical and emotional pain the game had left him with. Thankfully, that same year, Campbell recognized the spiral he was in and checked himself into rehab. It wasn't easy, but he made it through. He broke his addiction and came out the other side. And instead of staying silent, he decided to speak up. By 2013, he was publicly sharing his story, warning others, especially young athletes, about the dangers of substance abuse and the long-term toll the game can take. Isn't it almost hard to believe that someone as skilled, passionate, and dominant as Campbell ended up in such a heartbreaking condition? It feels unreal that a player who once embodied power and greatness is now struggling just to walk. To truly grasp how tragic his current state is, let's rewind the clock and revisit his incredible career. Because once you see just how high he soared, you'll understand why his fall feels so heavy. When the Houston Oilers made Earl Campbell the first overall pick in the 1978 NFL Draft, they weren't just getting a talented player, they were getting a force of nature. The Oilers didn't land that pick easily either. They had to trade away tight end Jimmy Giles, plus 5 different draft picks across 2 years, just to move up and take Campbell. But to head coach Bum Phillips, it was all worth it. "It takes a great running back to have a winning football team," he said, "and this kid is a great running back." He wasn't wrong. From the moment Campbell put on that Oilers jersey, he was a game changer. In his rookie season, he rushed for 1,450 yards, a league-leading number in an NFL rookie record at the time. That alone earned him the Offensive Rookie of the Year honors from both the Sporting News and the Associated Press. But he didn't stop there. That same year, he was also named the AFC Offensive Player of the Year, the NFL Offensive Player of the Year, and even the NFL MVP by multiple organizations. The city of Houston was electric, and Campbell's rise helped launch the famous Love Ya Blue era. He wasn't just a running back. He was a symbol of hope for a team and a fan base that had been waiting for something special. In 1979, with quarterback Dan Pastorini dealing with injuries, Campbell carried the Oilers on his back, literally. He led the team on a 5-game winning streak capped off with a monster performance on Thanksgiving Day against the Dallas Cowboys, where he racked up 195 rushing yards and 2 touchdowns. He finished that season with 1,697 rushing yards and 19 touchdowns, leading the league in both categories. He also set records with 11 games over 100 rushing yards, 7 of those in a row, and an incredible 368 total carries. For the second year in a row, he was named League MVP and Offensive Player of the Year. But while fans were celebrating his toughness and bruising runs, others began to worry. Campbell didn't try to dodge defenders, he went straight through them. His running style was all power and aggression. It looked amazing, but it came at a cost. Some players, like former running back Ron Johnson, warned that no one could keep playing that way and stay healthy for long. Even Pittsburgh Steelers legend Franco Harris said, "Knocking over people can look good, but you can't do it forever." But Bum Phillips wasn't concerned. In his eyes, Campbell was built for this. "I'm not going to change his style," he said. "Why would I? Earl does the same thing other backs do, only better." The Oilers finished the 1979 season with an 11-5 record and won their first home playoff game in nearly 2 decades. Campbell missed one playoff game due to injury, but returned for the AFC Championship against the Steelers. Unfortunately, the Steel Curtain defense smothered him. He had just 15 yards on 17 carries, and the Oilers fell short. Then came 1980, the year Campbell went into full beast mode. He rushed for a jaw-dropping 1,934 yards in just 15 games, only 70 yards shy of O.J. Simpson's single-season record. He led the league again in rushing yards and touchdowns, and even broke his own record for carries with 373. Over 60% of those yards came in the fourth quarter, proving just how relentless he was, even when defenders were wearing down. He even threw a touchdown pass that year, one of only 3 passing attempts in his entire career. For the 3rd straight year, Campbell took home league MVP honors and was once again crowned the Offensive Player of the Year. But even with all of his success, the team struggled to break through in the playoffs. After another 11-5 regular season, the Oilers were eliminated in the wildcard round, and just 3 days later, Bum Phillips was fired. That moment marked the beginning of a slow but steady decline. In 1981, Campbell still had a solid season with 1,376 rushing yards and 10 touchdowns, but the team failed to make the playoffs. For the first time in his career, he wasn't at the top of the rushing charts. Still, he showed flashes of greatness, especially during back-to-back 180-yard games that season. He earned a trip to the Pro Bowl, but didn't make the All-Pro team. Then came 1982, when a player's strike shortened the season to just 9 games. The Oilers collapsed, finishing 1-8, and Campbell's numbers dipped significantly. He rushed for only 538 yards and scored just 2 touchdowns. In 1983, Campbell bounced back somewhat, putting up 1,301 yards and 12 touchdowns and earning another Pro Bowl selection. But the Oilers were a mess, finishing with a 2-14 record. Things came to a head when Campbell was benched during a game against Cincinnati. Frustrated, he publicly demanded a trade. "I'm tired of hearing every week how I'm too dumb, washed up, can't block, can't catch," he said. The losing, the criticism, and the physical toll were starting to wear him down. In 1984, after another terrible start, the Oilers granted his wish. Campbell was traded to the New Orleans Saints, reuniting with his old coach, Bum Phillips. But even that move was surprising, especially since the Saints already had George Rogers, a young star and former Rookie of the Year. Now, with 2 Heisman winners in the backfield, expectations were high. But Campbell wasn't the same. In his first game with New Orleans, he carried the ball just 5 times for 19 yards. He continued to have a limited role, finishing the season with only 468 rushing yards and 4 touchdowns, his lowest output yet. For the first time in his career, he didn't have a single 100-yard game. His final 100-yard performance came in 1985, when he exploded for 160 yards and a touchdown against the Minnesota Vikings. But that was the last flash of the old Earl Campbell. He ended the year with 643 rushing yards on 158 carries and considered coming back for one more season to hit 10,000 career rushing yards. But by the 1986 preseason, he knew it was time. "The beating I've taken has caught up to me," Campbell admitted as he retired. "I'm a man. I'm not a little boy. I believe this is the best thing, not only for myself, but for the Saints." He walked away from the game with 9,407 career rushing yards, 74 rushing touchdowns, and 121 receptions for 806 yards. He was a 5-time Pro Bowler, 3-time MVP, and the heart and soul of every team he played for. But looking back now, it's clear he gave the game everything he had, maybe too much. And knowing where that journey led him makes it all the more powerful and painful to remember. And that wraps up today's video. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more. We'll catch you in the next one. Take care.